If you feel nothing in your relationships because you have emotional flatlining or what some people call anhedonia, today I am going to share how to fake your way through those relationships and why this is important. Now, this may sound outrageous if you don't know what these conditions are, and if that's the case, I suggest you check out one of my previous videos on anhedonia, or what is anhedonia versus emotional flatlining. But basically, anhedonia is blunted feelings or subdued feelings, while emotional flatlining is a complete absence of feeling. The reward pathway with flatlining in the brain is literally broken. And when that happens, you don't care about anyone or anything in your life, which is why I'm making this video on how to fake relationships, because you cannot feel any love or connection at all with anyone with this horrible condition. Now, this is probably the strangest video that I've ever made. And again, if you don't have flatlining, you're really going to think it's bizarre. But if you do, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you have already been faking relationships. And it is one of the worst and hardest things in the whole condition. I know, because I had emotional flatlining for over a year. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jackie Kelm, founder of Anhedonia Support. And today, again, I'm going to talk about relationships, and specifically 4 different types of relationships that you have and what you can do in each one to fake your way through it. Now, before I get into this, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, and these are just my opinions after overcoming it myself and helping many others do the same. So, faking relationships. Perhaps the best place to start is, why do it in the first place? It sounds terrible to fake a relationship. But when you have flatlining, you literally don't care at all about others, or even yourself for that matter. The reward part of your brain is not working, so you're not interested in anything people say or do. You could care less about them. Now, you would damage all your relationships if you acted authentically, and you don't want to do that, because you are going to get over this someday. And when you do, you want those relationships intact. Not to mention that you need people in your life too while you're going through these difficult kinds of conditions. So here are 4 relationships I want to talk about now, and the 4 things I suggest you do for each one. So first of all is medical professionals. So these are people like doctors and therapists that you see for this condition, and you don't fake anything with them. You're straight up. You tell them exactly what's going on and how you feel. And, a lot of them understand anhedonia, which is the blunted feelings, but very few, unfortunately, understand emotional flatlining, which is total numbness. So if you have that, you want to keep trying different professionals until you find someone who gets the difference and can help you. And again, you tell them everything. The second type of relationship is your partner and close friends. Now, here you want to do what you can to maintain these relationships. And this is going to sound so cold, but here's what I would suggest on how to fake it to maintain these relationships. So, number 1, tell them about the flatlining initially, but then keep it to a minimum. And don't talk about it at all unless they get it, which quite frankly, no one does. It consumes your whole life, and you want others to get it, but they don't. And after a while, they start to turn away from you, unfortunately, because they don't understand it, and they don't understand why you can't get over it. So they think, oh, you can just do some gratitude lists or get on some medication and be happy again. Now, I made another video on relationships and emotional flatlining, which goes more into this. But talking about this too much to others will generally just frustrate you and alienate them. So you want to talk with your professionals mostly about that. Number 2, continue saying, I love you, or using pet names, or the kinds of language that you would have used before the flatlining, even though you don't feel anything and it feels forced. So you try to act as if you feel it when you say it, and remind yourself that it is true down deep inside. You just can't feel it, okay? The third thing you want to do in close relationships is pretend that you care when they tell you things, even though you don't. And so here's a couple ways to do this. First of all, look them in the eye when they're talking to you as they speak. And then secondly, show the appropriate emotion for what they're saying. So for example, smile when they're sharing something good, look sad when they're sharing something bad. I know this sounds ridiculous. But you know what I'm talking about if you have flatlining because you don't feel anything and you have to do that, okay? You might want to ask a question to make it seem like you're interested because frankly, you're not interested at all, right? So that's one thing you can do. And then the other thing you can do, number 4, is try to keep up with them socially as much as you can tolerate. So try not to isolate yourself or avoid others. That's what you naturally want to do, but it's important to try to get out. You have to force yourself out and stay socially connected through this. And the other thing is you want to try to engage with others when you're at your physical best, such as whatever the best time of day is for you, or when you're rested and strong. I will say that's rarely practical, okay? But it's worth considering or at least knowing about. It takes a lot out of you to fake relationships. And so you want to do it at a time when you are at your best, at your strongest. So those are the basic things to do to keep your close relationships intact. And the next type of relationship I want to talk about are children. And honestly, it breaks my heart to even have to do this. My kids were in their early teens when I had flatlining, and without a doubt, feeling nothing for your children is the most devastating experience any mother or father can go through. But I'm here to say that we did get through it, and I faked my way every day. And my kids tell me they didn't even know that I had anything wrong at the time. I don't know if it had an impact or not, but I will say that it was much less than I ever thought. So it can be done, and it's critical that you do this with your children. So here's the 4 things I suggest you do with your kids. Number 1, again, tell them that you love them and care about them, even though you don't feel it. They can still feel that, even though you can't. And remember, you know it's true down deep inside. You just can't feel it. Okay, so this is in authenticness for you, or it was for me in that case. So you can say that with integrity, knowing it is true down deep inside, you just can't feel it. The second thing, again, is pretend you're interested in them. Get excited about their successes, show concern for their problems, just like in close relationships that I mentioned previously. And number 3, act as if. Again, think about what you would do if you could feel and do it. So hug them or hold them when it seems right, even though you don't feel anything. Talk or play with them as much as you can tolerate. Help them with their homework, help them with their problems. Be there for them in every way you would if you cared, even though you don't feel it and you don't feel like doing it. Just fake it all and you'll get through it. It'll be okay. And number 4 is try not to worry that you're messing them up. You know, do the best that you can. Again, my kids didn't know I had anything wrong. I can't say if it really impacted them or not. I'd like to believe it wasn't a huge deal. But just remember, as parents, you know, we're not perfect. We mess up anyhow. There are no perfect parents. So if it weren't flatlining, it'd be something else. We're all doing the best that we can, and you are doing the best that you can. The fact that you're even functioning with this horrible condition is incredible. So, and of course, the best thing you can do for your kids is to get over this. And so I'm serious about seeking a professional. And I have a free program and a paid program on our website as well that you can check out that I just offer on my own time at cost. And again, getting over this is the best thing you can do. And so then finally, the last relationships is with casual friends and acquaintances. And so first of all, I would suggest put all your energy and focus on your close relationships first, and then use whatever energy you have left over for casual friends and acquaintances. You can only do so much. So number 2, pick the ones from this category that you want to maintain. And, you know, you might have to let others go for a while until you get your feelings back, because you only have so much energy. Number 3, do the minimum to maintain the casual relationships that you feel are worth it. You want to save your energy for the more important ones. And number 4 is don't mention the flatlining. These are all just my suggestions. I would not mention it to them at all, unless you think they can help you in some way, where they either know a professional or, I mean, maybe they've been through something like it. It's so rare, it's doubtful. But in general, it's not something that typically casual acquaintances are really going to understand or be able to support you with, and it probably will just strain your relationship more than it'll help it. So those are my tips for how to handle the 4 different kinds of relationships in your life. But again, the best thing of all you can do is to get over this. So please, again, seek help, check out our paid programs, our free program. And and I offer that because I said, if I ever find the answer to this, I will share it with the rest of the world and as best that I can. And that's what I do. So that's it for now, my friends. And as always, I'm holding the space for you to get your feelings back. Bye for now.